Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. This is the Sales Confidence Podcast. My name is Brian K. McNeill, and I am excited to be here with you today. And we're going to talk about the Great Resignation. The Great Resignation of 2021, of 2021. I am going to talk about the skill you need to fully participate in this great resignation. The skill that you need to fully participate in this great resignation. Now, my name is Brian McNeill. I've been helping people to sell better for 29 years now. I've written 4 great books on how to sell. And today's phenomenon, the Great Resignation, is really, really interesting to me. I found some stats out today. I found out that in the first 7 months of 2021, the first 7 months of this year, January through July, 25 million people quit their jobs. 25 million people quit their jobs in 7 months. In August, 4 million people quit their jobs. In September, 4.3 million people went to their employer and said, I don't want to work here no more. Peace, 2 fingers. They decided to no longer work there. Why is this happening? This is an exciting thing to me. The Great Resignation of 2021. Now, track what happened. In January, followed the 2020. And what happened in 2020? All 2020, really let's say from March of 2020 until this country was stressed. We had a pandemic going on. It was an election year. It was very ugly election year. And this is on top of the previous 3 years of Trumpism. From 2016 on, it was just, I felt stressed so much. I was watching the news so much. But 2020 was a stressful time. People had stay-at-home orders. Don't come into the job. Don't come into the school. You can't come in this hospital either. You know, COVID-19 made people go home, made parents with no training have to all of a sudden be homeschoolers. So there was a lot of stress going on in 2020. Again, just to reiterate, 25 million people quit their jobs in the first 7 months of this year. Amazing. And then in the last 2 months, 8.3 million people have quit their jobs. 4 million in August and 4.3 million in September. These are stats that I was able to find today. And we're going to talk about to fully participate in this great resignation. What is the one skill you need? Now, what 2020 did, even though it was so stressful, and stay at home and wear a mask or not wear a mask and all this kind of stuff, what it did was it gave people time. It gave people time to assess, time to balance and make assessments. What do I have in my hand? How you doing? What do I have in my hand? What are my gifts, skills, and talents? I don't want to go back to the job anyway, so what can I do? Now, interestingly, before the pandemic hit, 85 to 95% of Americans didn't like their jobs anyway. They already didn't like their jobs before the pandemic. So the pandemic made them go home, and they got a chance to feel what it feels like to be at home during the day. These amazing statistics that I've already quoted about how many people have quit their jobs this year, I think happened because of several things. And there's a lot of different factors that people are talking about as to why. Why are so many people quitting? There are so many people that are tired of giving so much of their life, so much of their time to a place where they are unappreciated and underpaid. I'm going to give this company 10 hours of my day, but they don't appreciate me and they don't pay me enough for the right to do it again tomorrow. I don't like that anymore. I don't like that plan anymore. So many people have decided, no, I'm not going to keep giving you my money and you keep underpaying me and not appreciating me. Also, more and more people are starting to value quality of life. They want their life to mean something. They want their work to have purpose. People today, in a growing number, want less and less to work for the sport of working. They want to work to accomplish something, to make a difference, to be able to feel good after they leave their work day that they helped, they did, they accomplished. No more of this work just for an hourly wage. I was on an amazing conversation last night where it was talking about this great resignation. And there were so many smart people on there. I felt great to be in the mix of all these smart people talking about this great resignation of 2021. There were so many people talking about how, and there were a lot of employers in this particular room, how they can't hire. They have to pay higher and higher rates to try to get fewer and fewer people that are willing to work at that company. Biggest industries losing people are healthcare industries and retail industries have lost so many people. That's why you can't get any help at a department store. And fast food have lost so many people. Fast food, they work them to death for a little bit of money. Okay, now there are so many jobs available, they can leave right away. They can get hired again and again and again, because so now I think the good thing about that is it's forcing the employers to have to show a little respect, to treat people a little more decency. They have to compete with talent now. McDonald's has to compete with Burger King, not just for who has the best burgers or who can make the most sales, but who can actually get some people to work there. Woo! What a different time. I like it. Around the turn of the century, this country, when this country was still an agricultural country, everyone had a dream of owning their own plot of land. They all wanted their own farms. They all wanted to work for themselves or their own farms, their own smithing place or whatever. And then when the factories came around the turn of the century in the teens and the 20s, and steel and iron and oil and all that, gas and all that kind of stuff, people had this great idea. I'm going to go work at the factory for a little while, save up enough money to go buy my own farm and quit that job. That's what people thought. But in the 20s, so many people got stuck. They got stuck. The employers realized that they could pay them just enough not to quit. If they paid them too much, they'd save up too much money and they leave. So they started paying them lower and lower and lower wages until the unions came. And they were paying them lower wages and working longer hours. Like steel plants in Pittsburgh, they built cities around the plant so that the workers could actually live where they work. And they could work them all day and let them off work. They could work them 18 hours until labor laws came in, until unions came in and regulated an 8-hour day. Goodness gracious, they would work them 16 hours and pay them less and less money, but they had to have jobs. But that's not the case in 2021. Oh, no. We got opportunities now. We got laptop computers and cell phones. And we can look at the world. We can sell our stuff to the world now. So the Great Resignation, it's going on, whether you like it or not. And I am here to say that for you to fully participate, if you know people that want to quit their job or have just quit their job, or they want to quit their job to find another job, the one skill that they really need to fully participate in this is the ability to sell. Sell. Yes, it is. The ability to sell. Now, I believe there's three skills that have more to do with your success or failure than any other skills. More to do with your happiness or sadness, your prosperity or your poverty. These three skills I think are the most important. In no particular order, but the ability to communicate. Can you get your point across simply enough that somebody else can understand it? Can you say or do something that someone else can understand it? I think the ability to communicate is one of the most important skills of all the skills you can have. The ability to communicate. Can you articulate a thought so someone else can understand it? Whether it's spoken whether it's written, whether it's sent. Okay, can you explain it simply enough that someone can understand what you meant? The ability to communicate, I think, is paramount. The other of the three skills that I think are the most important skills, the second one, and again, in no particular order, but the ability to lead. The ability to lead. What can you get done through other people? What can you galvanize other people to do? What can you get people to all row in the same direction, to pull the same rope, to do things together? Can you help other people want to accomplish something? Can you help them to want to do it? Can you help people to want to go in the same direction? Can you lead a troops? Can you lead a family? Can you lead yourself? But the ability to lead, I think, has so much to do with your happiness or sadness, success or failure. The ability to lead. And the third one is the ability to sell. Can you get money in exchange for your ideas, your products, or your services? Can you get money in exchange for something? That's the ability to sell. The word sell has two originations. One of them is Greek and one of them is Old English. The Greek origination of the word comes from two words, sell and ye, which literally mean to help. To help. The word came about to describe the process of helping someone to get the goods and services that they want or need. And even then, they had to hope someone was willing to sell it to them. The Old English comes from a word called salon. And that word literally means willing to give up. Willing to give up. So if you're willing to give up something, if you're willing to help somebody, you're engaged in the act of selling. Yes. So if you want to take part in this, if you know of someone who wants to take part in this great resignation of 2021, they want to quit their job and either go and get another job somewhere else that pays more or treats them better or is doing more interesting work, or start their own business. You need to learn how to sell. That means you need to learn how to answer a few questions. Number one question you need to learn before you take full part of the Great Resignation is, what is it that you do? Can you answer the question of what do you do? I know of an amazing sales coach that teaches people how to answer that question of what do you do? I mean, you'll love this guy. He's smart, fun, funny. He has a lot of information. He looks a lot like me, actually. Sounds a lot like me. Actually, he is me. But can you sell yourself? Sell yourself, and can you answer that question of what do you do for a living? Now, let's talk about this real quick. Again, I was a part of a very, very intelligent conversation last night with a bunch of really, really smart people. And they were talking about this Great Resignation. And there were people in there who were saying things that are traditionally considered smart. They were suggesting to the people that those of you who want to quit your job, you should not quit your job unless you have 3 to 6 months of your bills money saved. Save 3 to 6 months of your money before you quit your job, and have a written out business plan before you quit your job. And the room seemed to agree with that. That's so smart, because I would never tell anybody to quit their job unless they had enough money to live on for a while. It's foolish for people to think that they're going to start earning money right away. Most businesses don't earn any money for a year and a half. All of that I just said in the last 30 seconds is hogwash. I'm going to prove my point. I, as a sales conference coach, said to them, I think the most important thing to have before you quit your job and to start your own business, I'm going to say it to you like I told them. I think there's only one thing you need to have if you're going to quit your job and to go into business for yourself. And that one thing that you need to have is one paying client. You need to get one client that is willing to pay you before you quit your job. The reason why I believe you only need one paying client is because if you figure out how to get one paying client, then you can figure out how to get 2 paying clients. And then you can figure out how to get 5 paying clients. But you need one paying client for proof of concept. If you have, and listen to me carefully here, please. If you had 6 months, think about anybody that had 6 months of their bills saved. And then they got to that point. I got 6 months of rent saved, 6 months car payment saved, 6 months of food money saved. I got all this money saved. I'm going to go to my boss. Look, I don't like it anymore. I don't want to work here anymore. I quit starting today. And they leave that job that day. They leave that job that day. And that day they feel great that they quit their job. Very often, on that day, they feel so great. The next day, they decide to enjoy some of their newfound time freedom. I never had time to do these things. Now that I've quit that job, I can have time to catch up on this, that, or the other. I can catch up on my working around the house. I can catch up on my book. I can catch up on this. I can catch up on my workout routine because now I have time freedom. Hallelujah, time freedom. Those people with 6 months saved up, they don't really get serious until the 5th month or the 4th month. Like, oh shoot, I'm about to run out of money. I better crank it up. I better put more energy into this thing. And that crank up and that energy that they need to put in the thing is the elixir that they needed to be successful. That's the juice that they needed to be successful. One of the TV shows that I so enjoy and so many people do enjoy is called Shark Tank. Shark Tank. It's a group of investors and they get pitched. They get presented to by people looking to get their money, looking to get the sharks to invest in their money. And one of my favorite characters on Shark Tank is a guy named Mark Cuban. And over the years of watching Mark Cuban, of what he chooses to put his money in, he does it through people, the people that he chooses to put his money in versus the people that don't. If the person that's presenting to them looking for his money, if they ask for money and they say, okay, so what do you want to use the money for? Which is a fair question. If they say anything like, well, I need 30,000 or 40,000 or 50,000 to live on while I'm getting this thing going. Rip, done. End of story for Mark. If they want money from him so they can live on while they're building, he says no, he won't give those people money because he doesn't believe people who need money up front to live on while they're building it, he doesn't believe they have enough within them to be successful at their game. I believe that hunger to make it work is part of that. What you need, that sense of urgency becomes important. If you need to make the money, it's amazing how that happens. If you need that money, I used to have a sales manager. And whenever he said this, I did not like him when he said it. I thought it was a low blow when he said it to the sales force. I'm 23 years old. I'm on the sales force. And this guy making this statement, I thought it was a really low blow to say to your sales force. He said to the sales force, look, if your daughter got sick and you needed $1,000 to get her what she needs to get to heal your daughter, would you go get the money? Would you go make the sale and get that $1,000? Well, your daughter is sick. Now, I thought that was kind of low at the time. But what it taught me was when properly motivated, you could do anything. When properly motivated, you can make the sale when you're properly motivated. One of the great sales books I read is called How to Sell Anything to Anybody by Joe Girard. Joe Girard was listed as the world's greatest salesman for 11 years in a row, according to Guinness Book of World Records. He sold Chevrolets one at a time. And he talks about the day he sold his first car. Now, most car salespeople at the time would sell 10, 12 cars a month. Joe Girard was selling 900 of them a month, one at a time. How could you sell that many cars? You know, he had systems. He had assistants at the dealership, several of them, and he was cranking them out. Okay. So anyway, not 900. Yeah, maybe it was. I thought it was like 150. But anyway, significantly more than anyone else. Okay. Anyway, one thing Joe talked about was his first car sale. And his first car sale was he had a wife and 2 kids. And they were home and his business had failed and he needed groceries. And he told his car, he went to this dealership and said, look, man, I need a job. I'll do anything. I won't take any ups from any of the other salespeople. I'll just get something that just happened to be there. And the guy said, look, all right, if you make a sale today, I'll pay you $50 today. Just make one sale, anything. Okay. And Joe Girard saw that opportunity of that $50 as a bag of groceries that he wanted. And he stayed at that dealership looking out for every opportunity. He was making phone calls, and it was late. It was like right before closing. Somebody walked in. There was no other salespeople around. And he made that sale, and he got that $50, and he brought groceries home to his family. He was properly motivated. Woo! Now, I'm not telling you need to wait until you're properly motivated to be successful. I am telling you, as having the ability to sell is a critical part of you being an entrepreneur. The ability to sell yourself and your services is the skill you need to fully participate in this great resignation. I personally like it. I think this trend will continue. I hope it does continue, that people value their time and value the quality of life and assess their own gifts, skills, and talents and decide, I'm going to make my money based upon what I have, not working for anybody else. I like it myself. Now, this is another thing that came up last night. Not everyone's built for entrepreneurship. Really? Okay, I'll concede that point. Some people might be built just to work for somebody else forever. However, there were people in that room last night that make significant money working for other people. Hundreds of thousands of dollars working for other people in their positions. So anyway, the great resignation of 2021, people quitting their jobs in droves. One more time, the first 7 months of this year, 25 million people quit their job. Went to the employer and said, peace, two fingers. In August, 4 million people quit. In September, 4.3 million people quit their jobs. Some of them went into their own business, and some of them went to go get other jobs. But actually quitting, and this is a phenomenon that we can't ignore. Maybe you can figure out how you can actually capitalize on this great resignation. I'm thinking about how I could. I'm thinking I can help these people that are resigning in droves, quitting their job in droves to sell themselves better. Maybe you can figure out a way as well. I appreciate everyone that's decided to join me. This is the Sales Confidence Podcast. We do this every Tuesday. And typically the meeting is going to last between 15, 20 minutes or something like that. We start at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is Brian K. McNeill. I do enjoy talking with you guys. I have some amazing guests upcoming. But again, thank you for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again on the Sales Confidence Podcast.